We're here with Kathryn Connor, who is the founder of Áirc, an organisation that supports children with disabilities in Mayo. Before we get into Kathryn, can you tell us a bit about your experience, how you started it up, and a bit more about Áirc?
Kathryn Connor is my name. I am currently living in Castlebar. We have one son, James Connor, and he was 13 just there in December, the light of our life. And I go back to when he was born, which was 2007. He was born perfectly fine, and just months into it, it was kind of, we knew there was something up and we didn't know, so we were going appointments after appointments. And it was just when he was a year old, the doctor kind of put the word cerebral palsy into our little kind of heads, and we were like, oh, what is that? And like, I've grown up with children with special needs. Like, my best friend has a Down syndrome brother and autistic sister, so I kind of grew up with that, and they were my family as well, you know. But I just didn't know what this. I was like, oh goodness me. So in the meantime, myself and my husband were getting married, and the week before we got married, there was an open meeting in Ballina, and they didn't really have a name for it or anything. And they're just like, look, we're putting the feelers out, and we're just going to kind of see if there's any interest, if anyone would like to join us and kind of go ahead with this Áirc Mayo. And I was like, oh, okay. And it was kind of like more of a parents forum committee at the time, for early intervention. And we weren't in the early intervention at that stage because James wasn't really being diagnosed at the time. So we did a lot of tests with James. So we got married that Saturday anyway. This is like the same week we got married. And kind of, it was still at the back of my head when I came back, and it was like, the lady and the man, Philip at the time, was talking. I was like, I'm really interested in this. I kind of want to see where this goes. So they text me and they're like, would you like to meet up for dinner and a few wines? That's sort of grand. And that was about 2 weeks later. And that night I ended up being secretary. So that was like in 2009. 2008, 2009. Yeah. So I ended up being secretary that night after a few glasses of wine. And that was it. That was it. I've been secretary for about 3 years, and then the current chairperson at the time, she left. She moved up to Athlone, Angela. She was the girl that got it really kind of going, and Angela Lockriley, and I took over, and that's been, I think, 6, 7 years. But I was secretary before that. So yeah, that's how I got into it. Absolutely changed my life. Áirc changed my life just for the fact for James. We didn't know where we were going with him. We didn't know anything about the early intervention. They helped me through it. I learned so much because of it, being in Áirc, learning about other disabilities, and putting a smile on my son's face. Really, it was the utmost for me being in Áirc, and just getting to know parents. And so many times you'd be like, oh God, I've no time to do it because family life, and I'm a part-time job as well. But when you see the kids' faces, and see James noticing a little boy that he maybe met the year before at a summer camp, you're just like, oh, but that's the reason why now, you know, that kind of way. And yeah, that was the main reason. It was for James, but it was for me as well. It ended up being for me too. You know, very, hard,
no, I think it's lovely that you say that, because like, obviously I wouldn't have had any affiliation with Áirc until I kind of moved to Mayo. And the only reason I would kind of know, because myself, like, I have a 13-year-old brother, as you were saying, James just turned 13 around Christmas, and I have a 13-year-old brother, and he's actually autistic. So he was non-verbal until he was about 5. So then we were kind of like starting to learn sign language, and we're like, oh, you know, and then he kind of started talking. But that's how I kind of got into like knowing about Áirc, is because I was online. I was looking for maybe like children with disabilities organizations in Mayo, because even though I wasn't at home, I couldn't exactly work with organizations there, because I would have done bits and pieces with his school, and I would have done talks here and there, kind of like as point of view of like the sibling. And, you know, because I would be, I don't know, am I using the right word here now, but like I would be typical, like I would be a typical functioning person. And I knew because Jack wasn't, and like I would have seen the struggles with Jack. So I definitely wanted to kind of incorporate myself into an organization. Like even if it's not 365 days a year, but if there's like small contributions that I can make. And I definitely like Áirc, and like that's what I like Áirc, as I was saying to you earlier, I was like, I can see the human aspect behind the organization because I know it's something that's obviously so close to your heart because it's the personal experience for you and personal experience for your family. So I think that's why a lot of people are kind of drawn to the organization that you have built up because of the human aspect to it and because of James and all the other children.
Yeah, and like all our volunteers, like we've 7 of us in Áirc, and every single one of us has a child with special needs, like different special needs. So us 7, we're very close, very, very close. Like even the meetings now, we haven't been having them for the past year, and I miss them so much. Like I know they're only a phone call away, but just that monthly meeting, even though it's stressful at times as a chairperson, because you're kind of like, oh, fundraise, you have to do this now for the kids and do this, we have to raise money for this. But behind it all, it's just like, oh, I'm meeting up with the girls, and you know, and it's with the partners too. Like my husband's good friends with a few of the husbands, you know, and it's so nice to see the dads get together and kind of go, oh, like talk about the kids mostly, you know, all of us together. I'm an eye out talking about Finn, or talking about James or Cormac, you know, and all the kids that are involved. And it's so binding for us as parents, because when you start off, it's such a hard time. You don't know where to go, and appointments are pushed at you and doctors are pushed at you. And that was one of the main reasons Áirc was set up, was to be there for the parents, as most importantly, and the kids, so they'd have a social aspect, and their siblings and their cousins and their grannies and their aunties. Like we involved absolutely every member of all their families.
And I think it's so lovely that you say that, because you see people meeting up, because I don't know, like maybe it's just from my own personal experience, but I think sometimes when you have a family member and they have like a special needs, sometimes I feel like it can be very isolating, because there might be another family and they don't understand. They don't understand that you can't always do things, or, you know, sometimes life might be, as I always say, it's not more difficult, but sometimes, you know, it's taking the scenic route. Sometimes things take just a bit longer and it can be very isolating. I even think, like, since I was growing up, because I'm 25 and my brother is 13, so obviously there was a big age gap between us. So I was kind of growing up having this, not a normal life, but I was kind of growing up having this typical life, and then I get a sibling and then they're diagnosed with like a learning disability, and I'm like, oh, my life completely changed. And like it was very
it's somebody to extra look after. It's kind of that kind of, you know, it's your brother, but he needs that extra love and tender and care. He does, you know, and you know, it's not pushed on, it's natural. You know, and maybe, you know, with his diagnosis, it's yay, you know, we know, and we know how to help him, we know how to work with him now, and the understanding as well to your own friends and even extended members of family, for them to understand too, you know, that it's there and it's out there, and you know, just to be aware of it too. I think awareness is the biggest part, and
I think so. I completely agree, because that's something that I've been trying to do, like especially in the last couple of years, because I also run like an Instagram page for Jack, and he named it, he's called Super Jack Guy, I think it's called. And he's like, he does videos all the time, he blogs. Like until he was 5 he wasn't talking, and now all of a sudden he will not stop talking, and now he's like a blogger. He records himself, and you know, people,
YouTube is the best.
That's it. My friends, a few people that I know, and like Jack wouldn't know them at all, he'd never met them, they would go up to him if they saw him around Cork. They'd go up and be like, oh my god, I watch your videos. I remember a friend said it to me, and Jack was like,
brilliant.
Like he couldn't believe.
James is the same. My little bookie, he's no speech at all. But the only words he can say is Castlebar and Ballina.
That's the only words he knows. He needs to know.
So we have to go around every single evening without fail and spin around Castlebar, record it on his iPad so we can watch back every single day. And you're just like, okay, I have to go around Castlebar again if anyone sees us. It's just like, but he just YouTube, and he has his own YouTube channel now, and it's all his Buzz Lightyears, as you know. And all his Lightning McQueen's and Castlebar. YouTube is a godsend sometimes. It
But
really,
isn't that,
really
that's
is.
all that matters though, is literally toys and
Yeah,
Castlebar and Ballina. They're
yeah.
the only words he needs to know, like, really,
That's
to
all
be
he
honest.
needs. He won't get lost anyway.
No, I love it.
No.
And, like, I've met James. I've only met him like a handful of times, and like I know he's like, as you were saying, like he doesn't have speech, but you know, you would know what he wants or what he's trying to say. But like he's such a character, like.
Yeah, like the first time he came in with the Christmas presents, that time, 2 years ago, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
it was, yeah.
And of all the toys, out of all the toys that were there, he spotted was it a helicopter or a truck?
I think so, yeah.
Like, that you will get into the Euro shop.
Yeah.
He picked that and he was happy jumping in. And I thought he'd be like going, oh, these are all his toys. I was like, oh, no. This
Just
might
wanted
be a bad
the one,
idea.
like.
But no, straight away, and hopped off his chair and went off.
I'm actually crying because I actually remember him hopping. I think the next year then, I think last year, was it a teddy bear? Was it like a teddy bear that you give to like a young child? And like that was
the baby with the buttons and the light. Yeah.
That
It
was
was
the
the
one he
elephant
wanted.
thing. I was like, you're not a baba, you're 13. And he's like, baba. I'm like, okay.
Literally, you're like, yeah, a happy life. I'll
Yeah.
just give him what he wants. As you're saying, like spinning
Yeah.
around Castlebar, but that's what you're saying. It's like the extra love. And like, it's not as if you wouldn't give it anyways. But my mom always says, like, about Jack, she's like, oh, you know, he's a blessing. You know, it's never seen as a
completely.
burden. Like, he's a blessing. He's like a child with it's not even a special need. It's like a special ability they have. They're just
ability and extra loving. I think James is so lovable. He really is. Like, he'd hug you and kiss you, even though it sometimes might mean it. But he does. Like, I wouldn't know what my life would be without James, and that's the honest truth. He's changed my life completely, and I know he's changed my husband Damon's life as well, and our families.
Yeah.
You know, it's I get emotional now.
I'm emotional too. And like, I know people will be watching this because they would see Jack, and like there's women that I know and they have children and see their children were like recently diagnosed with like autism or like any other like, you know, special need or like learning disability. And like they see videos of Jack or they see the work that we would do, like myself and Áirc, or like I would share bits that you do. And they were saying it gives them so much hope. And I think that's what this episode is about, is literally just giving people hope. Like, I know there's so many people that are excited for this episode because it's such, as you're saying, that's it. It's like, it's raising awareness because like I did my thesis recently, like I've done so many projects for children with disabilities and with autism. And it's just raising the awareness because it is something that's becoming so like prevalent. It's like it's the increase in it. Like I was looking back at like the census from the last like couple of years, and it's just every year there's like an increase. So I think it's just raising the awareness that like someone's behavior, they don't always mean it.
Yeah. I'll never forget the time James was in Tesco and he had a fascination when he was younger of eating flowers. And there was a lady going down the aisle and he grabbed the flowers and went, oh no. I was like, what am I going to say with this? And she was so understanding. She turned around and she goes, all right, love, I understand. And I was like, and now I think she looked at me and my hair was like this, I bagged underneath my eyes. I was like, I don't know what I was putting in the trolley.
Yeah.
James was just about in the trolley because he was like, he's disabled, you see, from the waist down.
Yeah.
So I had him in the trolley and he was going from side to side, he looked like a big 7-year-old in the trolley. And I was like, and I'm eating flowers. I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. She was so understanding. She goes, all right. She goes, I'll put them back and I get another. I was like, you know, there is certain people, there is, you know, and I think it's definitely awareness. And I think the awareness as well to say that Áirc is here, because a lot of parents don't know about us. And because there's only 7 of us and we're kind of mostly based Ballina, Castlebar, you know, it's so hard to get to other areas. It really, really is. And that was kind of one of the main things of Áirc, trying to spread it. And Mayo is very big. Yeah. It's a big county, and trying to get out to the needs of others in different towns so hard. And I do feel guilty sometimes, just like, oh, I'd love to be going out here doing something, or I love to be going out here doing something else. But with James as well, like I just can't. And I know the other parents that are involved with Áirc, other 6 ladies, it's hard.
No, it's great that you have something like that, because like even like from my own experience, because I suppose I would know some of it from my own experience, like there wouldn't really have been much. Like Áirc is kind of the first thing that I heard of, that it was literally an organization that was like dedicated to supporting children with special needs and their families. I think it was the first thing that I
Yeah,
heard
I
of.
think so. Yeah, I think the way around it was kind of the social events for the children. I think that was our main kind of ethos, was kind of get the kids to have a social life, push that as much as we can, then trying to get kind of like, I'm even setting up now this Irish Sign Language course for the parents, hopefully when things get back to, I've always wanted to do it myself.
Yeah.
You know, so, and then kind of involving parents and kind of courses and stuff, and, you know, communicate with parents and try and get more parents involved too. And I know it's hard, it is hard for them, but I'd be afraid that in last time, like, because as James gets older, you see, because with Áirc, it's up to 18 years of age. And when James is 18, like, I hope to God I'm still with Áirc, you know, but even to get more involved of parents that have the younger age, you know, they can start coming up into the ranks and kind of helping us out and stuff. I'd love that.
Yeah, I think with things like that, sometimes, like, because, you know, you do, like, this is kind of something that you would do, like, not on the side, but like, you know, you do have your own life, and, you know, you do, as you're saying, you have your own, like, you have your own job, and, you know, you have your own family and you have your own time. So it's definitely important to kind of get more volunteers, and say, even if somebody like myself now, I wouldn't have any affiliate, like I wouldn't have a younger sibling in it, like I'm from Cork originally, like what is it in volunteers that you would look for, even if it's someone that could volunteer once or twice a year, but they can definitely make a contribution.
Yeah, exactly. Hands on, because you do need to be hands on, ready to run around, like whatever we're doing, to run around. Like our monthly things is kind of mostly the sensory cinema. Okay. So parents really bring their kids to that. We do summer camps, and we're always looking for volunteers for summer camps. I would love to set up, like, every 2 months, maybe a sensory morning with just kind of games and stuff. We do parties 4 times a year. We do outings, but a lot of the outings, the parents and family to be with them. So a lot of our stuff is kind of family orientated, but bar the summer camps, parties, we love volunteers. Just kind of hands-on. Face painting for the parties, something different. If you have any qualities at all, we take it. You know, it's kind of, walk on stilts, anything at all. It's, you know, anything that the kids, because even though I can't even remember the last time we did a party, it's been that long. I think Halloween be 2 years.
And, you know, you're like, say when things kind of like, when you can have, like, I don't know, when you be able to have parties again or anything like that, like, is there anything, like, do the volunteers, I wouldn't assume, like, do they need to have, like, not even like qualifications, but do they need to have anything to get involved? Do they need to come from a volunteering background anyways?
I was just after doing a Garda vetting course there on Monday with the volunteer centre. And if it's a once-off, we don't really need Garda vetting, because I know Garda vetting is so hard. But if they want to, it's fine. They can go through me, like I'd be the Garda vetting officer. And it's just that, really. And if you really love to do something different, and that's kind of help out with children with special needs, why not? And like, we have so many different children with special needs, different needs. You know, such a variety, not a variety, but like with James cerebral palsy, you know, Down syndrome, autism, there is a lot. And if you want to get to learn about it, or if you're even doing a course like SNA or anything like that, come and join us and kind of see us. And I love to talk to them as well and let them get on hands-on with the kids. Like, we do have a few of the TY students that used to do swimming with us.
Okay.
Absolutely brilliant. It stopped the parents getting in the pool. When I used to go into the pool with James, he just he wanted to be mama. And you're just like, he's not doing anything for this 45 minutes. So then they brought the girls in, and you know what? He loved it every week, going, oh yeah, the girls are in and they're the hands and trying to swim over to them, you know, and it gives the parents a little bit of break too, you know, that they're not constantly.
Yeah.
So we want to get the swimming as well. There's so much. We try, hopefully, when things get back to a bit of normality.
Yeah.
Yeah, parties, face painting, baking, anything like that. Like, you know, we're very kind of home with our parties. It's very homely and it's a gathering. It's not serious. It's fun. We've microphones. We've singing. We've dancing. We've just let loose, and that's what the kids want. They don't want kind of.
And they don't want a structure.
You can't do that. You can't do that. You can't do that. Just like we usually do on Sportland, where the hall is just huge and they're just like let run wild, and, you know, and we'd have little different spots of little areas for them, not too overwhelming.
Yeah.
But they can go off and do their own thing, like, you know.
And I think it's nice that you say that, and especially when it's not structured and it's not like you can't do that and you can't do that, because I think children with different needs, they're always told no.
Yeah.
They're always told no, and they're always told you can't do that, just because it's not seen as the normal. Like the behavior might not be the normal, but it's just because people haven't accepted it. And I think that for you to say like, oh, we just let them, like obviously within reason, like nobody's going to be climbing the walls, but like within reason. Oh, here.
Or escape through fire doors and everything, and you're just
everything.
like, oh, where's the going?
Oh, like I used to have like when Jack was younger, like you were saying a story there about the swimming pool. We used to go to this swimming pool every single week. It was just up the road from me, and I was going to the gym. And every week Jack would be like, let's go to the swimming pool and let's go to the fancy restaurant after. And I was like, okay. So we went every week, and like the swimming was the exact same. He couldn't swim for the life of him. He used to go in, he's like, I'm going over here. The part of the pool that's about 6 foot and I can barely swim myself.
Yes. Yeah. The most part. And like, I don't go to the deep end. I'm not a pool fan myself now, so it's kind of like, no, because I do the baby pool rather than going into the big pool. Even when we go on holidays, it's like, Eamon and James, will you go and see where the deep end is? And I might tip in my toe.
Yeah.
But James, like, straight in, no fear, loves it, and just will go to the other end of the pool, and you're just going, how would I get him back if I was by myself? Which I wouldn't. I would just like, no, pedal yourself back again. Yeah. It's just, they have that devilment in them, don't they? And, it's just
the pool is always freezing.
Yeah.
Like, I'll never forget, like the pool was freezing, and there was like this part, it was like a waterfall, and you pressed it and it would kind of like shoot out, but the water was freezing, and he used to make me stand under it every single time. I'm like, can we not just go into the baby pool where it's warm? And I'll never forget, there was one time and he was like hanging off my neck, because I could obviously walk in the area and he couldn't even swim. So he was like hanging off my neck, and there was another child and he was with his father and he was trying to talk to Jack, and Jack literally looked at him and he just looked away and he goes, I am too busy on my journey.
I'm too busy now. My sister's working hard now for me, carrying me around the place. Oh yeah. Pure comical.
That's the thing. Like I was saying, like James, like as I was saying, I only met him a couple of times, but like absolute characters. Like if that was any other child, they would entertain. He'd be like, oh, hopefully now they'll go off and play with them. Jack has no interest in people his own age. He likes girls my age.
Same with James. He's maybe because he's always been around myself and Eamon. But the older generation, he does, like the nanas are his life, you know, and during COVID it was so hard, you know, but the nanas, the older, and he would sit, if you were at a party, like I'll never forget, we had a Valentine's disco out in Ballyhane. Valerie organised it, and he wanted to be stuck beside me and the adults. I was like, would you not go dancing with the girls? And some of them from his class, no. Mama, and listening and waiting to see what we were saying and talking and looking, and you're just like, wants to be with the adults all the time.
No, Jack is definitely the same. And my mom was actually who noticed it first. She was like, Jack doesn't really like kids his own age, because kids would try to come up to play with him. And I remember there was one girl it was in his class, and I can't remember what we were doing there. I think I had just finished a talk there, and the parents were there, and there was a younger girl there, and she like tried to come up and play with Jack, and Jack turned around to me and he goes, could you go and play over there? Like he literally pointed to the little sandbox. He was like, can you go and play over there? As if like this is what you should be doing because I'm here having fun with my sister.
And this is my space. And
Yeah.
This is my area. And I don't want anyone else now to interrupt what I want in my own little space.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
He's very caring for younger people because I think he sees, as you were saying, like with James, they have like the extra, because they get extra care and they get extra love and extra attention, that they kind of put that onto younger kids as well.
Oh, yeah. Babas, especially with James, like his little cousins. And once they kind of get to the 2-3 age, it's like, no, you're not any good anymore. You're just talking too much and you just want them. The Babas are there and they're getting their bottle and the Georgie, and James just loves that age.
Yeah.
And when you say to him, will Mama have another Baba? No. No, it's against the house rule. Like, no, it won't. He likes everyone else's Baba, that's it. And they can go back to their mummies and daddies. Yeah, he loves the Baba stage.
Yeah.
But after 2 years of age, it's like,
you're no more good to me anymore. Yeah, Jack's kind of the same. Anybody who can walk, anybody after the age of 2 or 3 who are walking, it's like, you can do too many things now.
That's it, and you're starting to talk now, and you're just like, no, it's too much.
Yeah, Jack, I think it's so funny because like, I think it's a lovely, like, this piece is a lovely, like, conversation piece so far, because as I was saying, there's such like human aspect like behind it. And like, even now you're talking about James, and people who might never have met James before kind of have like an understanding of who James is, because you've described him, his abilities and maybe some things that he's not able to do, but you've described him in such like a character way that people are probably imagining what James is like and what he looks like.
I'm surprised he's not up here now going, Mama, I warned you beforehand, if we get a visitor shouting, it's this time of the evening, to be going, Mama, Mama. Or the cat somewhere.
Honestly, as I was saying, that makes the best pieces, like the unexpected. It makes what people want to watch. Like, and I know you say that now, but when I'm in my house, like when I'm back home and I have to go on a Zoom call or something, I'm like, okay, Jack, you have to be quiet. I remember I had a meeting with my lecturer, and Jack like opened the door and just looked in and just watched me talking. And obviously I couldn't turn around and be like, oh my God, would you get out of here? Like, and then he was leaving, and he was so loud leaving. He was like, I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. I was like, I did not know that you were on a call. I was like, you could have left quietly without being like, I'm so sorry. I'm surprised he didn't get on the screen being like, I'm so sorry for interrupting my sister.
Yeah. So cute.
That's the thing. Like, they're just so lovable. Like, you're like, oh, look, they can do anything. My mom, like, Jack could do anything wrong. But no, Jack.
Oh, same with James. And I'm like looking at him going, oh, you did wrong now, and I have to do this now. There's no sticker on the calendar. And then he's like pointing to the calendar, and I'm okay, put a sticker. A smiley face sticker on the calendar, James. I know you did wrong today, but okay. Oh, it's so hard. It's
so funny. Like, as you're saying about the stickers thing there, like I know I'm bringing back this just like a personal experience, but like with our Jack, like, Jack was a big he used to be big into drinking Coke, and I think it's just be like that repetitive behavior of like he was just so into drinking it, and it was just part of his like normal routine. And then his teachers and people in class were like, you can't drink Coke anymore because you won't get a sticker in school. And I remember it was Patrick's weekend, like, so it was like an important weekend, like.
It's the big weekend where you can drink whatever you want.
And my mom was like, you can have some Coke, whatever kind of Coke. And he just was like, I can't. He was like, I can't have it because I won't get a sticker. And my mom was like, no, it's okay. I said it's okay. And he was like, no, I won't because I won't get a sticker. My mom had to text his teacher on the Saturday of St. Patrick's weekend, being like, is it okay if Jack has a can of Coke?
No. Yeah. Oh, bless him. Oh, yeah, my goodness. I wish James was like that. James is not like that.
Oh, but like, if anybody in the house said you can't drink Coke, he like writes a Jack on a label and puts it on a can and leaves it in the fridge. And if somebody told Jack from our house he can't have Coke, it would go in one ear and out the other. It's because it was like another like authority. It was his teacher. And like my mom had to show him the text message.
Yeah.
To be like, oh, it's, and like you probably know this with James, like with yourselves, he's probably like, oh, I know how to handle them. But with anyone
Oh, I
else,
know how
you have
to
to.
wind the little thing. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think that's with every child, though, no matter what. Like
It
if they,
is, the personality, but with James and Jack, it's just like, yeah, they know what way to go, and they
yeah,
know how to push little buttons, and they know if I just do this little smile and do something else or hug or kiss, I will get whatever I want.
yeah, yeah. No, that's it.
Yeah.
With our Jack, like if he did anything wrong, like he would just turn to my mom. He'd be like, "Mom, I'm so sorry," and he's like, "You're such a good mom." And my mom's like, "Oh," like he would write like little notes and put them on like a bar of chocolate and like leave them next to her. I'm like, you have her wrapped around your finger, like you know what you're doing.
Yeah. I love seeing that, though. I love
Yeah.
seeing that. I love hearing that. I think that's their personality. It's like, you go, you go.
Yeah, that's it. I'm like thinking back, and I'm like, wow, I was like at 13. I wish I was that smart.
Yeah, we wouldn't have got away with it
No,
at all, Laura. Not a bit. No,
no, not at
no,
all. I don't know, is it
no.
a girl thing, or is it just because now, like, with James and Jack, they're just that extra bit lovable. Like we all know who the
Yeah,
favorite child in our
yeah.
house is. Like me and my older brother say it all the time. And we don't even bat an eyelid. Like we all know there's favoritism. Like
Oh yeah, same with the grandkids. And
yeah,
all my brothers and sisters, my brother and my sister is like, oh, she's at it again, Nanny. Oh, but James, I'm getting this for James. I want this for James. It's just like, you have other grandkids. I know.
yeah. At this stage now, I think it's just because maybe I'm a bit older. Like if I was maybe younger, I'd be like, oh, but no, I think now we
Yeah,
just
yeah,
accept that we're completely understand that we're taking second and third place. Like
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it would be.
so another
Yeah.
part now, because I know it's getting late and James is probably looking for you. So another another question that I'd have is, if there was one thing you wish people would take from this episode today, what would you like that to be? And it could be anything from getting involved in volunteering, awareness, anything like that. I think it's kind of a nice question.
Yeah, I think most important for me to be out there is that parents that are just starting off and getting a diagnosis or don't know what's up or afraid to approach anyone, especially kind of the strict services like the doctors and things,
Yeah.
that we are there. And I think that's the most. I know with the volunteering is very important, but beside that as well, I think to get out there for parents that you're not alone.
Yeah.
You're not alone, and that we are there. Like, you might text me or message me. I will get back. It might be a day or two.
Yeah.
But by the time I sit down and put James to bed about 10:30 or 11, I'm fit for bed because I'm up again at 6.
Yeah.
So the weekends are my time to kind of catch up on things. But just to we are there. And most importantly for the parents and for the kids.
Yeah.
And in any shape and form, that you don't need to be coming to any of the events, but if it was just an ear to listen to, we're all there. We're all there. And especially for volunteers too, we do need help.
Yeah.
We do. Yeah, it's like we're getting to the stage now where there's only 7 of us, 7 mammies, and it's hard. And I know going forward, we need to do a lot of fundraising. And because of it's a year and a half now where we haven't done anything. Our last big fundraiser was Christmas 2019.
Yeah.
And that was our Christmas ball, and we've had lots of sits. The mini marathon. I think that's it. That's all we've had. And I think now going forward, we have to put the skates on and kind of just go. We have to fundraise now to kind of get events kind of rolling for the kids. Like we've the drive-in movies this Sunday, and we want to get back to the sensory cinema. Like most of our stuff that we do is free, and it's free for the parents, and it's free for kids and siblings. So we'll hopefully get volunteers involved and other parents, because it is good for parents to get involved too, to get us up and running again. I think that's the main thing.
And you say there with the not volunteering, but the fundraising can can they donate all year round, or is it only?
Yeah. Like on our it was you, thanks to you, Laura, that got me the Instagram going. I'm very bad, but on our Instagram page, the link in bio, Laura. Thanks a million.
I know. I'm sending screenshots, being like, it goes here.
I'm very bad. I need to do an IT course on Instagram and Facebook and everything. So yeah, it's on our Facebook, it's on our website, arcmayo.ie. The I donate button is there, so you can donate all year round. And if anyone is ever doing a fundraiser, like if you're thinking of anything, just contact me. We'd love you to do any type of fundraiser anywhere that it is. Like we had a fundraiser there a couple of years ago in London, GAA, the girls, the London Gales, and they donated a good bit for us.
Yeah.
Couldn't believe it. Just really couldn't believe it. All the way from London.
Yeah.
And the Ballintubber Cycling Club are very good to us, and the GAA Ballintubber Lotto that last year gave us a good donation. So little things like that, like pub quizzes, they're a big hit. Like we need to start doing that all over again. Just to. But if anyone, our I donate is always up and running. It's constantly there on our website, Instagram now, and Facebook. Yeah.
No, that's great. And like, no, thank you again so much for coming on. Because I know, you know, you'd have a hectic schedule yourself. So I'll put all those like links and everything. I'll put them in like the descriptions here. And I think this episode will, I think a lot of people will kind of resonate with them, because as you're saying, like, and as I was saying as well, it can be very isolating, because I suppose I come from like a different perspective of it. And as you're saying, just people know that you are there.
Yeah. 100%. It was like, it took me a year after having James to kind of go, right, I will go to an Áirc event, I will do this, like trying to get out and kind of just afraid, the stigma as well, you know, and it's kind of, it was all in my own head, you know, but I don't regret a moment of it. I don't regret a moment of it. And it was the best thing that ever happened to me was Áirc. Even though it could be stressful times, but it is and was and still is the best thing.
No, that's great. And thank you so much again for giving so much of your time. Such a great episode, and I'm excited to share it as well. And I suppose
we'll share it.
Yeah, I will. I'll share it over, and we'll have a podcast and everything on it. But no, just for anybody who wants to stay updated with anything with Future Thinking or Áirc, make sure you follow us on social media for any updates.